So we get to the book of 1 Samuel chapter 15, and God tells Samuel to go and tell Saul that, listen, I want you to go and I want you to destroy everything that the Amalekites own. So obviously Samuel goes and he tells Saul, and Saul goes, and they go and they start killing things. And then Saul has this idea, right? And he's like, okay, well, maybe, let's take the really good stuff in the land, so like the good sheep and the good goats or whatever it is, and let's keep that, for ourselves, and not only for ourselves, but we will use this then to give offerings unto God. So they come back, and they're celebrating. I mean, they've just had a victory, so like life is really good. And God sends Samuel back to Saul and says, listen, today I'm taking your kingdom away from you. You didn't obey me. And Saul's like, yes, I did. I went and I killed everything. I kept the stuff, but I kept it for God. I kept it because I wanted to sacrifice it to God. And then in verse 22, we get the verse that's so well known where God says, yeah, but, I desire obedience more than I desire sacrifice. And I think this is really just about, what obedience really is. I remember I heard Pastor Gibbard, he said once, obedience is the willingness to obey even before you know the instruction. And he used the example of Abraham. God just said to Abraham, I want you to go to a land that I'll show you. And Abraham kind of just had to pack up everything and say, okay, well, guys, pack up, we're leaving. And when people ask him, okay, well, where are we going? He's like, well, I'm not really sure, but, we're leaving. And I don't know, I think that really does show an amazing level of faith, or an amazing level of trust in God. And something like that, can only ever come from a relationship with him. Those of you that know me, I'm constantly saying, I love that we have stories of the Bible and of the Old Testament and the New Testament, but sometimes I so wish we would have stories from today, because if we're serving the same God, then, we should have our own Paul, we should have our own Samuel, we should have our own Abraham. And even looking at obedience, just looking at my life, even when I started this, God had really said to me, look, I want you to talk through some of the things that we've walked, even some of the things that I'm struggling with now, as we go, let's talk and let's share. And I took that and I was so excited. And then I decided, okay, well, let me pray about what this thing should be called and all that stuff. Meanwhile, God had really already spoken to me and told me what, like what he wants me to do and what he wants me to call it. So those of you guys, you'll actually see that the name has changed to Potter's Clay, really just because, this life and our journey to shaping our lives is about being clay in the Potter's hand. But I just thought it was so much cooler to be called Challenge Accepted, because then people already know, that it's a call to challenge people and stuff. And yeah, and eventually, as God does, eventually he wore me down, and I was like, okay, Lord, I'm sorry, I have to apologize for something like that, because yes, I obeyed and I listened in terms of, starting with the videos, but I still allowed myself to make certain decisions, where he had said he wants to make the decisions. And I think this morning I really just want to encourage you. There's so much to obedience. There's so many verses that we can talk through. There's so much, there's so much out there. There's so many teachings, so many quotes and stuff. But I really just want to encourage you. Let's actively practice obedience. When God speaks to us, let him not wonder, okay, is it going to take 3 weeks for this person to actually understand what I'm saying and then eventually do what I did. Even if you look at Jonah, guys, that story, it's crazy. The guy, all God wanted him to do was go and say something to a nation, you know what I mean? And the guy would rather be, swallowed by a fish, or whatever it is, Sometimes we need, well, not sometimes, but all the time, we really just need to trust that when God asks something from us, it's not because he wants to hurt us, but it's because it's part of the journey he wants to take us on. And we can only get to a point where we completely trust in that. When we know who he is and we understand his heart, it makes it so much easier for us to obey. So yes, there's things in our lives that we need to work on and places where we need to improve. So don't allow the desire to please through obedience to overshadow the need for your relationship with God, because that's really where all of it starts. And in all honesty, that's where all of it ends.